Welcome to ProCalV5, the most powerful calibration and quality management software available today. ProCalV5 combines speed, versatility, and enhanced functionality with a user-friendly design that utilizes common Windows commands, keystrokes, and control keys. Every release is available on SQL Server, Oracle, or possibly Microsoft Access platforms. No matter what version of the software you choose, with ProCalV5's highly detailed forms and fields, you can produce reports that satisfy good manufacturing practices and traceability requirements as required for ISO 9000 and FDA validation compliance. This is the ProCalV5 home screen. It is the main screen you work from while within the software. It has the navigation bar buttons and the menu items used to activate every other section and function of the system. Keep in mind that the navigation bar buttons and menu items that are available to a user at any given time are strictly dependent upon the level of system access that the user has been granted. The main toolbar found at the top of the home screen contains the current company being processed. This toolbar also contains 3 buttons. First, we have View Reminders. Selecting this button will open the reminder screen. The information provided depends on your group associations and the reminder options selected for each group. Next, there's View Notifications. Selecting this button will open the notification screen. And finally, there's ProCal Explorer. ProCal Explorer adds a pane to the side of the home screen that enables you to quickly view all of the current company's records as well as their relationships to one another. The navigation bar found to the left of your home screen contains buttons which provide quick access to the various screens in the system. Each button gives you access to one of the following screens: the company record, the master instrument record, the loop record, the equipment record, the system record, the test instrument record, the calibration record, planned maintenance records, maintenance requests, maintenance results, work orders, tasks, document records, compliance reports, the upload-download screen, and the log data screen. The buttons that each user sees are dependent upon that user's access level and any additional ProCalV5 modules that have been purchased. What you see here is an example of ProCalV5 with the PM work order and field calibrated utility modules installed. Let's take a look at the company screen. Although this screen is called the company record screen, it is often used to create separate departments, divisions, and additional work sites. ProCalV5 grants you the ability to store and track data for unlimited companies within the system. Each company record must be established before the user can enter any more of its information, such as setting up instrument records and entering any other data at all. Also, only one company can be accessed at a time. That means you get strong data separation security with ProCalV5. Once the company screen is open, you can scroll through the tabs to see the various settings available. Many of these settings can also be configured on a system level. By that, I mean that many of the same settings are found within the System Options and Defaults screen, which can be accessed from the File menu at the top left corner of the home screen. The System Options and Defaults screen is used to establish various settings that would be applied to all new companies added to the system. All changes made to the system through the System Options and Defaults screen will affect all companies that currently exist within the database as well. Let's move on to the Master Instrument Record. The Master Instrument Record screen is accessed by clicking the button labeled Instruments on the navigation bar. The Instrument Record screen is used to add, display, modify, and if necessary, delete master instrument records. This screen is where you will enter all of the instrument's information that will remain constant, such as model number, serial number, calibration frequency, and calibration specs. Each instrument record that you enter will act as a template for creating the calibration record for that specific instrument. Here, you can see the calibration record for the instrument we've been working on. Enter the as found and as left values. Decide whether this is a passing or failing calibration. Finalize the record, save the record, and that's a quick example of manually enter passing calibration. Notice how the roll dates and/or close these items on completion section displays information about the instrument that was just calibrated. Let's take a look at the master records for that instrument. Notice how the first, last, and next calibration dates have been updated according to the calibration frequency that has been set. At this point, I'd like to mention that the options that are inside of this drop-down list are not here by default. They are user-entered values. In fact, almost every drop-down list you encounter within the software will be populated by user-entered values, allowing for the software to be relevant to a wide variety of industries and disciplines. To populate these fields with custom data, you will open the Lists menu and select the title of the field you intend to modify. Here, you can see the various list items available to you and a brief example of the setup of a few. Now, let's say this instrument breaks and needs a repair, but you're nowhere near your next calibration date. If you have the planned maintenance work order module, you can perform a calibration outside of your normal calibration schedule without affecting the calibration frequency of the master record. To do this, you will navigate to the PM Info tab and select the Add New PM Record button. Once the planned maintenance record is open, you will need to select a maintenance type. The maintenance type I've chosen allows me to use the cal specs already associated with the master instrument record. You also have the option of entering in custom cal specs if that's what's required. You can add a calibration frequency if you choose, but this is usually used when the instrument record receives routine maintenance. For this unscheduled repair, it's not necessary. The calibration process will proceed as it did previously, but this time you will have the option of choosing between the planned maintenance record and the master instrument record for the calibration. I'll select the planned maintenance record. Once again, I'll enter the as found and as left values, select pass, finalize, and save the record. Next, we'll look at calibration records. The calibration screen is accessed by clicking the button labeled Calibrations on the navigation bar. This screen is used to add, display, modify, and if necessary, delete the results of an instrument, loop, test instrument, or system calibration. Once you have entered cal specs into an instrument, loop, test instrument, or system record, you may create calibration records based upon the template you've set up with each item type. You've seen an example of a manually entered passing calibration. Now let me show you an example of a manually entered failing calibration and the ways it can affect other parts of the system. Let's start a new calibration for the same instrument record. This time, I'll enter failing specs. Notice how the color of the values change as they're being entered. This is an immediate visual indication that the value has exceeded either a spec limit or a control limit. This feature can be configured on the Additional Info tab of the company record screen. Now that I've entered my readings, I'll mark the record as failed, save the record, and then return to the Calibration Information tab. Now I'll finalize this record, and you can see that compliance reports were created as a result of this failure. You can also see that a notification has been created as well. Next, we'll look at loop records. The master loop record screen is accessed by clicking the button labeled Loops on the navigation bar. A loop is a collection of instrument records that are calibrated using the same calibration frequency. Sometimes it is useful to associate instruments with loops and even to provide separate calibration certificates for each loop. ProCalV5 gives you the ability to manage loop information. Just like the master instrument record screen, the master loop record screen is used to enter all of the loop's information that will remain constant, such as classification, department, and calibration spec points. Also, like instrument records, each loop record you enter will act as a template for creating the calibration record for that specific loop. The calibration process for a loop record is like the process used to calibrate an instrument record, except that the loop record will contain calibration groups from multiple instrument records. Next, we'll look at the equipment screen. The equipment record screen is accessed by clicking the button labeled Equipment on the navigation bar. In ProCalV5, equipment is defined as an item that does not get calibrated but can consist of one or more instruments and/or loops that do. An equipment record may represent a control panel, a vessel, machinery, or anything similar. Although it is not necessary to create equipment records or use this section of the program at all, associating instruments, loops, and even systems with equipment is a good way to create more detailed records. It also gives you the ability to run advanced queries that include equipment IDs, allowing you to isolate your data and more efficiently assign work. The IDs of all equipment records entered into this screen will be added to the Equipment ID drop-down list in the Master Instrument and Loop Record screens, and will also appear for selection on the Additional Info tab of the System Record screen in its Components section. Next, we'll look at the Master System Record. The Master System Record screen is accessed by clicking the button labeled Systems on the navigation bar. In ProCalV5, a system is defined as a high-level entity that can be calibrated. Systems may be comprised of instruments, loops, equipment, and also component systems. Equipment and systems are very similar in that they both may have component items. However, the major difference between them is that a system may be calibrated, whereas equipment cannot be calibrated. In addition, systems are often used in laboratory settings, while equipment is more often used for process instrumentation. The calibration process for a system record is similar to the process used to calibrate a loop record, except that the system record will contain calibration groups from various items such as instruments, loops, and even component systems. Next, we'll look at the test instrument screen. The test instrument record screen is accessed by clicking the button labeled Test Instruments on the navigation bar. This screen is used to add, display, modify, and if necessary, delete test instrument records. You may add your own company's test equipment owned by your customer, or an outside organization that may service your instrumentation. For a variety of reasons relating to quality control and record-keeping issues, ProCalV5 stores data for your test instruments separately. However, if the test instrument is part of a company that is set as a service company, it becomes a global item that can be accessed by all companies for calibrations. Next, we'll look at the document record screen. The document record screen is accessed by clicking the button labeled Documents on the navigation bar. Document records are required for most quality assurance programs. The document record screen is used to add, display, modify, and if necessary, delete document records. All document records that are created will appear on the Documents tab of various item types. Also, some document IDs may appear on the Document ID drop-down list of various item types as well. Keep in mind, though, that once a document ID has been associated with any record, it can no longer be deleted from the system until it has been disassociated with that record. Reports in ProCalV5 may be accessed from the Reports menu in the home screen. This menu lists every report group already established in the system. To use an individual report, highlight its group, and then select it from the full list of the reports in that group. These reports include inventory lists, scheduling reports, worksheets, calibration certificates, and many more. Also, because ProCalV5 uses crystal reports, you may create your own custom reports and integrate them easily into your system. This flexibility allows you to customize your system to meet your needs. All of the item types we've covered have similar features. This enables you to quickly become familiar with ProCalV5. Also, by using the toolbar within each record, you can easily move in and out of different records, preview reports, print records, save records, add new records, and access the program's help system. So, in this video, you've learned about instrument, loop, system, test instrument, equipment, document, calibration, planned maintenance, and compliance report records. You've seen some calibration examples, and you've viewed some reports. You've also seen a little of how ProCalV5 can be configured to fit your personal needs. We hope that you like what you've seen, and we hope that you'll try ProCalV5, because we're confident that once you do, you'll recognize that ProCalV5 is the most powerful calibration and quality management software available.